Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
They're going to toss it. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly, Miller's still start trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry! Good evening and welcome to the UK SimRacers MX5 round 3 live from Brands Hatch Indy. I am James Parfitt. I'm going to be joined in the booth once again by Mr. Zach Sweeney is going to be here with us this evening. Welcoming Callum Milam and Phil there as well. Thank you so much for joining us. So we are here at the Indy circuit of Brands Hatch, 1.92 kilometers set in the city of Kent in the United Kingdom, and it's the short track. It is one of the most iconic short tracks that people still use and we will be using, and we are here next Monday for the JPB Clio Cup as well. But today it's going to host the MX5s, and I think now would be a good time to bring in Mr. Sweeney into the booth. Good evening, Zach. How are you, sir?
I'm alright, bit under the weather, but you know, I'm here. I mean, I can't miss MX5s, can I?
No, definitely not. You can't. It just gets absolutely manic. It's a sin. It is a absolute sin. And, you know, it's going to be an interesting one, don't we think, here tonight? You know, we've got 21 cars on track, rushing around an Indy circuit. What do we think we're expecting?
Chaos. Basically is the bottom line. I think it's a short track, you know, just what is that, just over a kilometre and a bit of length. It's ridiculously short, and I mean, you can see that obviously there's not a hell of a lot of corners. It's not the full Grand Prix layout that we've become accustomed to, and then couple that with you've got 21 MX5s hurtling their way around. It's gonna get busy, so you obviously got to make sure you're minimising the mistakes. Even on the shorter circuit, it still has the same characteristics of Brands Hatch, the full Grand Prix circuit, in the sense that it is very tight, it's twisty, and obviously there's a lack of tarmac runoff for you to utilise. So you really do have to be careful, and well, I think there is probably, you know, I'm going to predict a shake-up in these championship standings afterwards.
Yeah, definitely as well. Daniel Hunt is currently leading the way on 3.54 in the pros. John Sylvester second on 3.15. Jamie Ayres third on 2.92. And Tom Griffiths on 2.88. They are your biggest movers in the top 5. And when it comes back down, there we go. Ewan Bramer on 2.86. PVG on 2.65. Miles Owens 2.63. Steve Hefford on 2.41. Carl Jacklett 2.17. Charles Kellerman 2.13. Ralph Cullinan 1.70. Elise May 1.61. And Martin Sampson on 64. Now in the AMS we got Arnold Chagnon. No, we don't. We have a horrible overlap that I don't like. Just bear with us here tonight. Right, let's try that one. We've got Chagnon leading the way in the AMS on 1.81 with Darrell Wright in second on 1.65. Andy Littler 1.53. Jason Addington 1.29. Jordan Sirrett on 1.02. Anthony Jacobson 1.01. Mick Barry 86. Steve Hansford 75. And Alan Toon down there on 20. Now in the teams, this is what we were discussing about. This is how interesting it's going to be. The boys at Platinum Racing have taken the lead in the championship on 8.64. Momo in 7.98. And then we've got Optical Red 4.42. Results Clothing 3.57, DOF Reality 3.54, Air Smart Racing 3.10, Optical Green 2.88, and Work Guard by Result there in the bottom on 1.73. So we are just started qualifying now, so we will be in and see how these guys get on around this iconic short track circuit that's going to provide some incredible action this evening. One of the, obviously, Zach, as we know, we've been talking about it since the beginning. Momo not going to get their own way. The boys at Platinum putting him under pressure. Ewan Bramer, Miles Owens, John Sylvester. The three of them battling away, of course, with Jamie Ayres, PVG and Steve Hefford. It's going to be tight in that team's championship, if nowhere else.
I mean, the theme so far throughout the season, I mean, we're 2 weeks in now, we've had 8 races, and we've really had a good opportunity to gauge where people are. Obviously, after the Red Bull Ring, Platinum looked very, very quick. It was a bit of a shock to the system for Momo. You know, they managed to sort of recompose themselves, get back at going again, going into Roscogan, and they sort of said, you know what, boys, yeah, we've got a bit of a threat coming. We've got the Platinum boys. We've got to look out for them. We've got to make sure the rest of the season is on form. So now Momo, you know, they've showing off the cobwebs a little bit. They're at that complacent mindset, and they're thinking, yeah, you know what, we've got a challenge and we've got to rise up to it. I think it's going to be a fantastic season in terms of the teams championship, which, in all fairness, is a championship across sim racing, across series, that oftentimes does get a little bit forgotten. You mainly focus on the drivers' championship and things like that, but you cannot ignore a teams championship as close as this, particularly the storyline, the comeuppance of Platinum versus Momo, the veterans, the champions, and now Platinum are really putting in a good showing. And obviously throughout the rest of this year, we've got the 3 mini championships of 12 weeks long, and then of course the other 2 beyond that for the next 12 weeks, and then obviously another 12 weeks beyond that to round off the year a little bit later on. But yeah, Platinum, I think they're looking so good, but then again, so are Momo, so in all fairness, it could go either way.
Yeah, it can. We've got Steve Evans leading the way on qualifying at the moment, 51.913, 51-second lap here in a 15-minute sprint with a top 13 invert for race 2. And then we go again for 15 minutes of race 2. Then we have a break, 15 minutes of free, 15 minutes of form with random reverses, okay? So stay tuned for that one because it's going to be absolutely epic. There is 4 15-minute races lined up for you this evening. And at the moment, we've got Steve Heveard, Daniel Hunt, Pete Van Gaal, Ralph Cullen, Miles Owens, John Sylvester, Hannington is there as well. No Ewan Bramer here tonight for the Platinum Racing boys, so not quite sure where Ewan is and whether or not he was able to make it, but we do see the return of Darren McLean. It's great to have Darren back in the series as well. This was his first appearance this season, so great to have him back. And of course, we've still got the wonderful Sir Alan Toon there with his name across his bonnet, back in the series as well. So it's going to be an absolutely incredible night. 10 minutes remaining of quali. From our point of view, Zach, you know, this MX5 series has always brought the best racing. It's always put the cars on track. You know, how are they going to cope with the amount of cars that we've got rushing round Paddock Hill and up into Druids? Because it's a downhill, uphill drop. You know, they've 21 cars rushing in there. What have they all got to do to get through that cleanly?
Don't be silly, basically, is the consensus, because it sounds simple, obviously, you know, thank you, Captain Obvious, but you just got to be careful. You've got to go into Paddock Hill, sort of lifting off a little bit, playing it cautious. You know, 9 times out of 10, you can sort of get a good cutback actually through Paddock and try and capitalise on the carnage if you back off and, you know, are careful. Obviously the rise up and towards Druids, you can brake quite late, wouldn't recommend it. Obviously you just, again, take the first 2 laps to just settle in. Don't go for any moves in haste, don't send moves up the inside, anything like that, because it's a short track. And if you throw it away in the first corner, you are going to have a tough time clawing that time back over the course of the rest of the race. And again, it's only 15 minutes. So if you go for a silly move into turn 1 and find yourself out of the race, chances are the actual chance is done until you go into the next one. So obviously, yeah, it's going to be busy. Expect chaos. But as a driver, you're going to try your best to be the one that doesn't instigate said carnage, said chaos. And if you do that, if you keep your nose clean, chances are you might find yourself picking up a couple of places anyway.
Yeah, Miles Owens currently on screen. He's down in 6th place at the moment. John Sylvester did have pole for a very, very brief short time before Daniel Hunt has taken it back and said no, and then PVG and Jamie Ayres all come and took the place away from him as well. So unfortunately for John Sylvester, he's now down into 4th. He's gone in, he's grabbed some new tyres, and he said thank you very much, and off he goes again. Callum Needham, evening, cheering on Air Smart Racing, guys. Arnold and Jason, come on boys. And obviously Dan Peebles has just jumped in as well. Good evening to you, sir. I hope you are well, Dan. Having a fabulous Tuesday evening. There's a few in the arms currently. Jason Hannington is leading the way. Anthony Jacobson's just gone off track. And of course, Darryl Wright there on your screen currently for the AMS. I think it's going to be interesting, not only in the pros but in the AMS as well, especially as the fact that, you know, they're all still quite tightly close together. You know, Chonier is currently leading the way on 181 with Darryl Wright 165 and Andy Littler 153. It doesn't really take much to move around in these score sheets when it's, you know, 50 points for a win. So I think they've got to really kind of concentrate and see how they get on. Chagnon and Haddington, I think, have really got to try and work together to maybe pull Haddington forward. Maybe he's struggling a bit, and Chagnon might be able to help him out in that way.
I think it's just very, very tightly contested, obviously. And I mean, you look at going into this race from Roscogan. I think Daniel Hunt gained like 3 places in the championship. Obviously, that's for the pros, not necessarily for the AMs. But the statement still stands in the sense that things can change very, very quickly. So when it's as close to this and you go to a circuit like this, yeah, expect things to be a little bit chaotic. And obviously, 50 points for a win. It's very easy for things to go quite pear-shaped very, very quickly. It's obviously the 4-race format as well means, you can do really well in race 1, mess up race 2, do a little bit better in race 3, mess up race 4. There's plenty of opportunities for you to both gain and lose points in a format like this. And, there's no differentiating... No points differential between each race. They're all worth the same amount of points, regardless of whether they're reverse grid or set by qualifying or whatever. You earn the same amount of points for each and every single race, which definitely adds a little bit of extra spice to the pot and means that in all of the championships, it is going to be very much up in the air. No one can really dominate a format like this purely because it doesn't allow you to dominate it. We saw Repeat Van Gaal, he did really well at the Rebel Ring, struggled a little bit in Roscogan. Daniel Hunt was able to then capitalise on that, catapult himself up to the podium, to the top of the championship in the pros. There's no room for comfortability here. You can't feel secure in a championship because there's always something that can go wrong.
Yeah, I think that's one of the great things. And then you chuck in a reverse grid just for good health, and it all sort of kicks off. And anything can happen. So let's see how it all works out. Hopefully, it will work out. A bit better there as well. David Ayres, sounds a little bit weird. Sounds like you're on a tannoy system. That's a lot better. Okie dokie. Not entirely sure why that's all of a sudden gone wrong, Mr. Ayres, really. But there we go, over and done. Hopefully it's all good, and you can hear us all a lot better there as well. And you want to make sure you can hear me and Zach cleanly, don't you? Let's be real about it. The sultry tones of us 2 veteran individuals in the booth. Well, one veteran and a millennial, maybe.
Hey, I've been doing it for a couple of years. Whether that you count that as a veteran or not, I don't know.
I don't know, really. I don't really know in our business, Zach, what really counts as a veteran.
That's true, because you've got people that have been doing it for like 2 years and who are like doing everything that is there to do, and you've got other people that have been doing it for like 10, 12 years and are only scraping the surface. I don't know.
I don't really know.
It's a good industry, isn't it?
Yeah, because I'm not really sure where the veteran, beginner, intermediate individual lies, the one with the most experience, how it all pans out, really. I think we just do it for as long as our voices will hold up, and then, it would all go, I don't know. I'm not really sure. When do you retire from this industry?
I don't know, mate. I'm 16. All right, I'm not thinking about retirement just yet. All right, just give me a few more years. But where do you base it off? How high level of a broadcast you've done? Do you base it off how long you've been doing it? I mean, Arjuna, he's only been, this is like now his 3rd or 4th year of commentary, and he's already won a simi. So he's already doing everything there is to do with sim racing. So I don't know, he's not been around for that long of a time. But then you've got other people that have been doing it for like 10, 12 years, and they're like, yeah, I do some stuff. Like, who's the veteran here? Who? I don't know. It's just a weird industry, and we just keep going as long as we possibly can, I suppose. And then when we give in or people don't like us anymore, that's when we sort of have to, put everything and leave.
Well, Phil's put it nicely in chat. You retire when you pass away. So that's a nice way of putting it. Phil, thanks very much, mate. Talk about bringing the fun.
Yeah. And then obviously just beyond that, it's the A-Team and Zach. That's a bit harsh, isn't it? At least it's you giving you grief. Normally he's giving Dan a whole heap of grief here as well. So, there we go. David has just put, there is no escape. Well, once you're in, you're in.
Once we're here, that's it. We're here forever. Zach's getting the same grief as me. Yes, Dan Peoples is normally the one getting the grief off Phil. But no real improvements on time, guys. We're coming down to that last 3 minutes where not a lot seems to really be happening, where people are moving and shaking. I think we're finding this quite a lot. We've got PVG maybe setting green here as well, but everybody's kind of sort of reached their maximum potential, really, haven't they? And I think it's sort of not really much improvements. Andy Littler might be able to get an improvement in as he goes across the line. What about PVG? Are you going to improve any more? No. Andy Littler, is he going to improve up through the order? Yes, he goes up 2 places into 19th there. Jamie Ayres with another green time. But this is that kind of lull period of qualifying, Zach, isn't it, where they don't get sort of much improvements done on their times?
Yeah, that's the thing when it comes to shorter circuits, particularly Brands Indy, where it's a 50-second lap time. You haven't, like we spoke about it when we went to the Rebel Ring right at the start of the season. It's a short lap time. You don't have as many corners to actively make up that lap time. You know, you think each corner, you think, okay, that's one extra braking opportunity, one extra turn, and one extra acceleration opportunity. All 3 of those sequences is an avenue for you to gain time. When you shrink that down, you have less of them. You therefore then have less opportunity to actively gain that time relative to not only yourself but also your competitors. So that's why we're seeing a very, very close fight for pole. And obviously, when it's a short second like this, when you've already gotten to the top end of your potential, when you're set in purple sectors, then messing up the middle sector, then improving again in the final sector, it's that sort of that plateau where you make marginal improvements, and it is just a case of making sure you can hook up the lap. For your first couple laps, sure, you put the banker in, you go again, you're very, very quick. And then obviously beyond that, it's a case of, yeah, you know what, actually I can scrub off a little bit less speed going into turn 1 or into turn 3. And it's those gains that then make the difference. But they are very, very hard to get because you nail one corner, then you mess up the next one. So the whole point of qualifying is making sure you get every lap nailed, and, well, that's not the way to do it.
No, it definitely is not. So let's see how this one all pans out. 1 minute 15 on the clock. Daniel Hunt, of course, you just saw him go off. We're on board with Jamie Ayres currently at the moment as well. Phil's still giving Dan grief. Stop moaning, Dan. I gave you a night off last time. So there we go. So Dan did get a night off, obviously, after all, from our resident viewer, Phil, of course. So there we go. You got a lot of things going on this week, Phil. How are you going to cope? You got like 16 broadcasts this week. How are you going to catch them all? That's going to be the interesting thing. We start off with today with the UkSimracers. Of course, yesterday we had the JPB Clio Cup. Then we've got the BSC later on at 12:45 from Bristol Motor Speedway. And then tomorrow we've got the TSRC Porsche Cup Round 2 from Brands Hatch, funny enough, as well. And then on we go into Wednesday evening or early Thursday morning. We've got the Simability up as well with Rob Slider. He is taking the cars through Oxford Plains, I believe. And then we've got the LSRL F1 from the Nürburgring. And then we go into Thursday with a Radical Race Series with myself and Ewan O'Leary. Now, that's up to Thursday. I could read the rest of the week, but I'll be here for quite a while. So we'll stop on Thursday as we just come to the end of qualifying. Wait for the turn, flick around. There we go. And Dan Hunt is in first place. PVG in second. Jamie Ayres third. Tom Griffiths in fourth. Steve Hefford fifth. John Sylvester 6th, Carl Jacklett 7th, Miles Owens 8th, Darren McLean 9th, Ralph Cullen in 10th. It is the 2 Air Smart Racing boys in 1st and 2nd for the AMS with Jason Huntington and Arnold Chagnon, Anthony Jacobson and Elise Main mixing it up with the AMS there with Darrell Wright, Charles Kellerman, Mick Barry, Steve Hansford, Andy Littler, Sir Alan Toon and Martin Sampson is the last placed man on the grid as we get ready here for the first of the 15-minute races live from Brands Hatch Indy, and it is going to be one that you are not going to be forgetting here as well. So stay tuned for this one. Right, just going to wait for the lights to appear. Just wait for Steve Hefford and Charles Kellerman to get onto the grid. And let's see how they all go here as well. I will be away from Thursday to Monday night, so if there is no decent internet, we'll have to binge on Tuesday. Nice, Phil. Where are you off to? Anywhere good? Where Bramer? I don't actually know, Miles. I don't know. I can't tell you. Oh, not that one. I can't tell you where Ewan Bramer is. Maybe he's having a night off. I don't know. But here we go. The lights are on. Dan Hunt is sitting on pole position here from Brands Hatch Indy, and we are green, and it is Dan Hunt got away with an absolute flyer. PVG, Jamie Ayres there side by side. PVG got a whole load of wheel smoke. Carl Jacklit's trying to make his move up the inside over John Sylvester and Miles Owens, and Carl Jacklit is up 1. Jamie Ayres up 1 as they're running up into Druids for the first time this evening, and everybody currently has made it through. No real issues. As I say that, Jason Hannington from Air Smart is spun round. So there is Jason Hannington. Unfortunately, he just had to wait for everybody else to go, Zach, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, well, into obviously the final couple of corners. Here comes Jamie Ayres trying to spark a fight for the lead. Daniel Hunt trying to keep him honest. PVG trying to make up for a poor start as well. However, Jamie Ayres inside line running through Clark Curve. Now the pit straight, of course, left to go as we round off lap number 1. Daniel Hunt keeping him honest there to the left-hand side. The right-hand side of shot, it will give him the outside going through Paddock Hill Bend, which definitely is the suboptimal line way through. PVG trying to follow the inside line and use Jamie Ayres as a bit of a pry bar to squeeze himself through the gap side by side through Paddock Hill Bend, now uphill and towards Druids Curve, and while this fight is far from over, Jamie Ayres still on the inside.
Yeah, it's what he's got to watch out for now of Daniel Hunt is whether or not Jamie Ayres is going to open up that line. We've seen this before with the 3 Momos in line. They do just kind of push the person off in front of him. Hannington is into the pits, unfortunately, so it looks like he is done and dusted as these guys go rushing round Surtees. PVG's now trying to make the move on Dan Hunt. Is going to give him the outside of McLaren corner before he runs round into Clark. He's opened up the inside for Steve Hefford, though, and unfortunately for PVG, he's just lost a place to Tom Griffith after being bullied off the inside line. That's one of the things he's got to look out for, though, Zach, isn't it? Because you can't leave that line open because the car behind will just follow him through.
100%. You've got to stay in the rhythm. It's like karting. As soon as there's an open gap, people will capitalize on it. And yeah, when you're in a pack like this, as big as this, you are definitely got to be on the lookout for people in behind you. Side by side, just in that fight for second. Steve Hefford looking to the inside of Druids, goes for the set in that Momo car on the inside. Daniel Hunt trying to retain that second place. He doesn't want to lose any more ground. Downhill and towards Graham Hill Bend, and the outside line is definitely the worst place to be. Forced off the road just a little bit. You can use a full extent of the circuit, in all fairness, even just a little bit more to gain most of the lap time. Daniel Hunt now has the inside as they run through the almost flat-out left-hander of Surtees. Then the right as he just etched himself ahead as Daniel Hunt. Indeed, he has contact. He sends sideways into Clark Curve. Steve Hefford. Oh, well, there's definitely cleaner ways to get a move done.
Yeah, Hefford there, unfortunately, into the back end of Daniel Hunt, and Hunt has gone all the way down the order, literally all the way down. He's going to come out just in front of Alan Toon. Martin Sampson here in the optical red there with Andy Littler's just gone past as well. But this is the battle for Steve Hefford, Pete Van Gool, Tom Griffiths, John Sylvester, Miles Owens battling away around Druids on this run down into Graham Hill. They go dropping down the hill, and this bottom base corner is one I always find very, very tricky, Zach. It's always just being able to get off the accelerator, line the car up, and then push the accelerator again. It's not easy in any car, let alone these ones.
Track limits are also a bit of a funny one as well, because you don't really know how much track you can use while still gaining time. You don't know how much track you can use while still being in the circuit. You obviously go off the curb as off the exit, but you can use a little bit of the grass and still keep your foot in and still actually have a decent chunk of time. So Graham Hill, it's one of those awkward ones where the weight shift of the car and everything like that. However, we'll come to that back in just a second, because Steve Hefford is under a bit of pressure from PVG, looking to maybe try and get the up and under. Does the black Momo car now to the inside, going uphill through Druids. That's exactly the line you want to take. Coming off a Paddock Hill Bend, inside line for the 39 machine. He's able to move himself up into second place, recover from the poor start. However, 1.5 seconds up to Jamie Ayres, who has really made the most of this battle in behind. He's used it to full effect, and now I don't want to say he's got a comfortable margin, but he's definitely looking a bit more comfortable than PVG is right now.
Yeah, 1.5 seconds is comfortable by anybody's point of view, to be honest. And unfortunately for PVG, this is what he's seeing behind him, the red and yellow of Steve Hefford there as well, from that looming MX5, and it is Momo 1, 2, 3, Platinum 4 and 6 Owens needs to try and clear, if he can, Tom Griffiths. They don't want to lose this many points in the team standings, especially when it's Momo 1, 2, 3. Griffiths there trying to squeeze up the inside of Sylvester. Sylvester trying to block the outside, hopefully allowing for Miles Owens to come around the outside of Griffiths. Griffiths has not left the door open. He noticed he was coming. He just moved his car open and said, no, 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 that's not the way through, and I'm not going to let you do that. John Sylvester's point of view here, though, Zach, he can play a massive part in bringing Miles Owens here, can't he? He can bring him right into play if he just keeps Tom Griffiths behind him little by little.
Defend on the inside, and if Owens decides to stay, go to the left, go to the outside, textbook Carter move, gap on the inside, you follow him through. That's exactly what he could do to bring him back into the mix. If he's forced to defend, then obviously Jacklett can be like, yeah, you know what, obviously I'm just going to let myself to the inside. Obviously, if Owens is a bit clever about it, he'll maybe think a little bit more in towards Druids, Stalper into the outside, not quite able to get the up and under. Now running downhill in towards Graham Hill Bend to the left-hand side of your shot. Oh, a little bit wide, dipping a couple of wheels onto the grass. He's trying to get the ultimate switchback. Look at that, beautifully done. Foot to the floor now as you run your way in towards Surtees. It will eventually give him the outside line for that final corner, and it's a long way around there. This is exactly potentially what Owens needs just to try and nip his way through.
Yeah, he's got to go. He's got to go. The door was there. Griffiths got a little bit out of shape with Sylvester. There was a little bit of contact that opened up that inside line. Griffiths tried to take it. Sylvester said no and stuck his nose back in there and said, I don't care how far I'm going in. You're not having that line. From Owens' point of view, he's got to try and tuck up behind Sylvester. He has to. He's got to try and get it now. Here he goes now. Griffiths comes across and says nope, and Owens is forced to go around the outside again. The problem going around the outside is you're leaving the door open for Jacklett. So maybe the easy thing for Owens to do there would have been to tuck in behind Griffiths again and follow him round so he didn't lose this little bit of time that he's lost here.
100%. You know, worst case scenario, you defend and you don't lose any time. You don't get any time to the car in front. What you do though is cover your bases from the car behind. As soon as you leave yourself susceptible to a gap on the inside, people are going to fill it, and that's exactly what we're seeing now. Any opportunity they get given, because a circuit like this and cars like these, it's a glorified karting circuit. In all fairness, it really, really is. The way these cars handle, and obviously the nature of a circuit like this, it inspires racing like this. However, Jamie Ayres, Pete Van Gool, the gap has closed, and PVG setting the fast lap of the race last time by a 51.55, going the way of the 39 machine. He's been able to close that 1.5 second gap and now putting some pressure on for the race lead. The fight for fourth continues on, however, but we could very well have a three-way fight for the lead here in race number 1.
Yeah, Ayres gets a big old slide on there, but we don't say that as we're shocked about that, because Jamie Ayres is normally putting his MX5 sideways as it is. So there we go. For him to go sideways and control it, it's no real shock, because that's generally what he does with the car anyway. At pretty much every circuit we go to, there was Jamie Ayres spinning the slide of that car sideways as best he can. Sylvester's now lost that inside line to Tom Griffiths. He ran a little bit wide out of Clark, and Sylvester's on the right hand side with Miles Owens in the middle of the three, and it is Griffiths is going to get up there. Fateful mistake, he left it wide open. Sylvester's trying to come back. He's going to force him off the line. Is he going to be able to get him around Druids? Owens, you need to be up there. You need to be up there. You need to tuck in behind him. That's the way. That's the way. There we go, Donkey. There we go. And John Sylvester, Miles Owens did what they needed to do there, Zach.
Exactly what we were saying, exactly what they we predicted they were going to do. Side by side, just in the background as well. That could be Darren McLean versus Carl Jacklett into Surtees now through the right, forces the gap open, now trying to dart his way back to the inside is Jacklett. McLean's got no answer to that one as they run their way through Clark Curve, and yeah, the long way round. You risk being pushed out. Now a challenge for the lead, defensive into Paddock Hill Bend, parking the car perfectly in the middle of the circuit is Jamie Ayres, who from third on the grid catapulted himself into the lead early on. However, he's got Pete Van Gool hot on his heels. Now inside for Druids. Is he late enough on the brakes? Not quite good enough for the Momo MX5, but Jamie Ayres, yeah, he's got his work cut out for him. However, he's got to be careful. He does not want to bring Steve Efford into the mix, and then subsequently, if he defends even harder, doesn't want to bring in that train that's queuing up behind John Sylvester. he's got to weigh it up, and he's got to defend in a way that doesn't lose him too much time, which is very much easier said than done.
Yeah, very much is. I'm a bit more interested here because Griffiths has now passed Owens again, and he's just about to get Sylvester. He lost 2 places, and now he's back taking the 2 places away. This is where it's all going to happen. They could end up going 3 wide down into turn 1. We'll jump on board. We have the JBB chopper flying over the sunny skies of Kent. Currently at the moment, Miles Owens, you've got to get up there. You've got to get up there. Follow him through. He's opened up the inside line. Down through Paddock Hill they go. Owens has got to get on the gas up into Druids. He didn't. He got a slow exit there, Zach. And unfortunately for him, he just dropped back too much and let the door close over Tom Griffiths.
100%. Yeah, you've got to be more committed than that. Obviously, Paddock Hill, the way it dips back down, you lose the grip. The car becomes light. As soon as it levels out again, you've got a ton of grip. You can use that. And unfortunately, the outside line going the way of Griffiths was just able to allow him to hang on to the pace and allow him to stay in front of John Sylvester. So, yeah, definitely not optimal, but plenty of opportunities left to go throughout the rest of this race. It's been incredibly close between all 3 of them and sandwiched between the 2 cars. Tom Griffiths is definitely stuck between a rock and the hard place now. Through the pit straight one more time, all the way to the right hand side is Miles Owens, ducking and diving, tries to find the inside, does indeed do so. Inside line now for Paddock Hill. However, Owens is trying to go the long way round, put his foot to the floor first, maybe try and get the up and under defensive. Goes the blue and black MX5 now in towards Druids on contact. Oh my word, bit of door banging. They both get off scot-free luckily. However, now the 2 teammates have invited themselves to go side by side, and that is exactly, well, the exact opposite of what they'd want to. Tom Griffiths now ahead, and well, by a couple of car lengths.
Yeah, I think Owens just got a little bit out of control and just lost control of that MX5. Unfortunately, he did get a slide on and just go straight into Griffiths. That may have looked a little bit worse than it actually was. I think as I say, it wasn't Owens there as well. I think Owens just lost the car and went into the side of Griffiths there. Unfortunately for him, though, has now dropped him back from Griffiths, and now he's got to go again. The problem he's got is the very fast John Sylvester that we know is quick is very quick. So do you let your teammate go? Do you think they're going to be team ordering it and letting him go? Because Sylvester was looking quick.
Yeah, he was. I don't know. It depends whether he's thinking for the best interest of the team, whether he's thinking for the best interest of himself. It's that way up. You're a racing driver. You don't want to take that brunt of, oh, yeah, my teammate's quick. You don't want to accept that. You want to live in denial for as long as you possibly can. But if you're a good team player and you're thinking for the team's championship, then for sure, try and do it in a subtle way. Try and do it in a way that doesn't lose either of you too much time. Because if Miles Owens, I mean, it might be the case that Owens is confident in himself and he says, you know what, no, I can still put on some good pressure. However, that's not been the case as John Sylvester gets his way ahead of his teammate. So probably the best decision, knowing that Sylvester is a little bit quicker and fighting for 4th, of course. No podium or anything like that. However, the gap is just about a second. So Miles Owens might be heading up the rear end of this train a little bit. Might be saying, you know what, you go ahead, you put some pressure on those cars in front, and I'll try and keep these guys behind.
Yeah, Alan Tooney trying to move the car out of the way in the MX5. He is, of course, under blue flags currently at the moment, and I'm sure Alan will do his best consented effort to remove the car there as well. SRL TV, thank you so much. Is it John Brown? Is it Dan Mould? That would be the question every time we see SRL in the YouTube chat. Is it Dan Mould? Is it John Brown? Who is going to be controlling that account this evening? We will find out, I'm no doubt, very, very shortly as we watch the 2 PRT boys here, Owens and Sylvester, with Jack Litt tucked up right behind him as well. Dan Hunt is out, unfortunately, is now into the pits. And for Dan Hunt, that doesn't look good. He was on the verge of taking that pole position place. Carl Jacklett has got under no fears of putting Miles Owens under pressure, and Jacklett takes that position away from Miles Owens. Owens does try and come back around the outside. Whether or not there's going to be run for him to run down into Graham Hill along that outside line, he's got to send it in a little bit more deeper than he normally does. He has done. He's managed to get the car stopped. Is he going to run wide? There was a little bit of a slide from Miles Owens that's going to allow Carl Jacklett to come up the side. Through Surtees they go and up the hill into McLaren before they take the long looping right hand around Clark. Owens looks like he got the jump this time, but Jacklett's definitely giving him grief.
for sure, and that's exactly what you got to do. You got to pressure your opponent. You got to force them into a mistake. Back to the fight for the front, and somehow Steve Parfitt has managed to get himself into the lead. However, how long that will last is another story. Jamie Ayres straight back up the inside in towards Paddock Hill Bend. Pete Van Gaal following him through as well, capitalising on the better run in towards Druids, and it's all turned back to how it was last time we checked in this fight. Jamie Ayres from Pete Van Gaal from Steve Parfitt, 3 cars all fighting over at the top spot here in race number 1. Jamie Ayres, you've got to applaud him. He's been doing such a good job in this race. He's commanded it, he's controlled it, and he's done exactly everything he has to do, right? He's kept Pete Van Gaal at bay, he's kept Steve Parfitt at bay. Anything that's come his way, he's been able to collect himself and come back at it, put a counter-attack back onto it, come back from it, recompose himself and get back into that rhythm, and that is so important as a racing driver. Jamie Ayres, well, he's only got a handful of moments left to go in this race. White flag out last time by, so 53 seconds left on the clock. This is it, and well, that's where desperation starts to creep in. Pete Van Gaal, he's only got a lap around Brands Hatch Indy to get this move done, and well, desperation now to the inside of Druids.
Yep, for the final time here as well. Jamie Ayres with PVG and Andy Littler in front of him as the back marker. Really, no, Littler's all out of shape, he doesn't know where to go. It's going to release PVG into first place. And he didn't really know where to go. They went either side of him, there wasn't much room for him to go. Ayres does come back through, and however it did look like PVG lifted off there, I'm not going to lie. But it looks like Jamie Ayres is going to take your win here this evening in race 1 with Pete Van Gaal in second and Hefford third. It is a Momo 1, 2, 3, and that just about sums up how good they were here at this circuit. And it is Arnold Chagnonier in the AMS taking the victory here this evening as well, with Mick Barry and Anthony Jacobson right behind him in second and third respectively, of course, in the standings. Looked a little bit easy from Pete Van Gaal for that final part there.
I don't know. I don't really. Obviously, it looks from our perspective maybe that he didn't put up too much of a fight. Maybe he felt bad, but you can't be feeling bad in racing. Obviously, good sportsmanship, I guess, to snatch the win like that. Jamie Ayres did deserve it, but if the luck fell the way of Pete Van Gaal, he's got to capitalise on it. He's got to take it. Maybe it was just an aggressive dive from Jamie Ayres, and Pete Van Gaal didn't want to risk losing second place. Either way, the race ended at how it ended. A Momo 1, 2, 3. As a team, I'm sure they're not complaining particularly because, well, they're beating Platinum.
Yeah, they are. Jamie Ayres, Pete Van Gaal and Steve Hefford there. A Momo 1, 2, 3. Tom Griffiths in fourth. John Sylvester, Miles Owens from Platinum Racing Team in fifth and sixth. Jacqueline Thampson from Optical Red in the seventh and eighth. Then we've got Darren McLean, Arnold Chagnonier, Charles Kellerman, Mick Barry, Anthony Jacobson, Darrell Wright, Andy Littler, Sir Alan Toon, Daniel Hunt, and then Elise Main. And then beyond that, Steve Hansford, Ralph Cullen, and Jason Haddington, who finished quite a long way down. Now we have got I would say a brief 10-minute warm-up, but it's not really going to be a brief one here between race 1 and race 2. People will nip off and need to go to the toilet. So never-ending Winkle face. Interesting. Could have taken the win. What do you think? I agree. I think PBG left the door open. I believe there could have been a victory there as well, but unfortunately he didn't. So I think he could have had that done, to be fair, if I'm not mistaken. And, had it wrapped up. I think he did kind of lift and leave the door open there a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Whatever his reasons are, I suppose if he wants to give up a race win, that's on him. Might sort of ruin the feeling for Jamie Ayres potentially. I don't know. It depends obviously on their goals as a team. The situation at hand, Pete Van Gaal was able to capitalise off a bit of traffic, which in a format like this, you don't really get that often. Like, it's a short circuit, so any spin does usually put you almost a lap behind. But, you've got to capitalise where you can. And Pete Van Gaal, unfortunately, wasn't quite able to do that. Or if he was, he wasn't willing to. I don't know. I think the race itself was fantastic. The three Momos fighting towards the front. The championship implications, of course, Daniel Hunt coming into this race as the championship leader after, dominance, really, at Roscogan. He was on fire last week. and well, finishing what was it, like P17, P18 for this race, it really does set him back in the championship. So he's got a lot of work cut out for him, obviously going through race 2, 3, and 4 to maybe claw back some points and get himself back into the mix. Because up till now, his average finish is, I think it's about 2.7, 2.4 for Daniel Hunt is his average finish. That is ridiculous. That is insane. An insane stat. I mean, look at it. 1 win, second DNF, 6th win, 5th win. Like, that's incredible from Daniel Hunt. However, due to an incident that was arguably not his fault, he's now got a lot of hard work to do. So race 1, not only from an action perspective, but also a storyline perspective, there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it definitely is. But it has been seen before that, you know, you don't always have to be winning to be at the top of the standings, do you? I think that's one of the things that people
100%.
need to realise. You've got to be consistent. And if you're consistent and not doing anything stupid, you're liable to be up there at the end of the season anyway.
Keke Rosberg won his Formula 1 World Championship with a single win throughout the season. Obviously, there's been cases I know from karting and things where people have been in a championship fight. They haven't won the championship, but they've been very, very close to doing it without winning a single race the entire season. And we've seen it time and time again throughout sim racing, where if you're just consistent second, third, fourth, that sort of area, you can really get yourself into the mix. But Daniel Hunt from John Sylvester, the gap was that 39 points between the two of them. Yeah,
Yes.
no, 49.
39.
No, 39. Yeah, 39.
Yeah,
Look at me. Bam. Quick maths.
Yeah, quick rounds. And you've
yeah,
still got your shoes
quick
and
maths.
socks on. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I know. Go me. But yeah, I mean, I'm from Norfolk, so I've got an extra couple to depend on. But 354, and yeah, it's a decent margin to have going into round 3. But it's James, you're right there, mate.
Mate, I had a mouthful of water.
Trying to make a point in your.
I couldn't help it. I had a mouthful of water right as you said. I'm from Norfolk and I've got some extra ones. Literally, never mind. It was a complete mess. Winkle, there we go. There's the championship points for the pros. And there's the AMs there, buddy, as well. There's like, oh, dearie me, 16 points currently at the moment. So there we go. It's very, very interesting. But yeah, there we go. Yeah, carry on what you was talking about anyway. You didn't actually finish. Where were you going with that?
I was going with the fact that, you know, he had a decent margin coming into Brands Hatch, but obviously that's taken a big hit coming into, well, the rest of this evening. Fortunately, there's 4 races, so he can, you know, claw some back. But yeah, he's got some really hard work cut out from his, is what I was saying. Phil said I've got a new battery for my calculator. I actually don't know where I've put my calculator, I'll be honest. I used it, you know, not too long ago for my GCSEs, and then it's just disappeared. I don't know, maybe
He's got it on his mobile phone, isn't he? That's where he's got it from.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's my lap, to be fair.
Yeah, Chris Needham there as well. Arnold has his shame hat on due to taking out Jason. The worst rule of racing, don't take out your teammates, and you got Arnold Chagnon taking out Jason there as well. Team will discuss potential fines, so that could be interesting. You get fined 1 pack of Haribo this week for taking out your teammate.
Make it a Freddo.
Oh,
Make it a Freddo. They're expensive now.
Oh, yeah. Saying that though, right? I went to go and get some Easter eggs because basically I'm a bit of a chocoholic. So me and the wife generally go to Morrison's. We'll go, right, we'll pick up all these Easter eggs for the kids, and then we end up having to replace them Easter eggs a week later because me and the missus have sat on the sofa and we've eaten them, or we've gone up into bed and watched a film and we've munched the Easter eggs. So I went to go buy one today. Now last year they were £1 for these little eggs that are no
They're
different.
like £3 now, aren't they?
No, like they're 6 inches high, right? They've gone up to £1.50. The next size up that they were charging £2 for have now gone up to £3.25. And apparently we're able to live on and feed ourselves in a world where everything's increasing. There's a crisis, but yet energy companies are making a fortune and supermarkets are making millions. But yet apparently the UK is in crisis. Anyway, enough of this political jargon going on here, because I could go on a rant for ages about that. It's one subject that drives me crazy. But we won't, as we're just coming towards the end of the warm-up here as well. We're 3 minutes left on the clock. I think it's going to be an interesting race too. We have got a top 13 reverse. Actually, to be completely honest, I missed who was going to be on pole position now. Who is it down in 30? Mick Barry. So Mick Barry will be on pole for race 2.
Jacobson.
No, it's top 13. Oh yes, Oh yes, Jacobson. Sorry, well just spotted there. So Jacobson will be on pole. So there you go. Only racing. Yes, very much so. So getting off that, you know what I mean? There we go. May racing never be in a crisis? No, they probably won't. They won't be in a crisis. I'm not quite sure how they would put a crisis in iRacing, to be fair. Probably shorter drivers.
Raising tracks.
Yeah, I don't know. Shorter drivers, putting your membership fees up to cover the shortage because we're in a crisis. I don't know. Or something, price of content will go up through the roof, who knows. That's why you get bars of chocolate. Yeah, the problem is the eggs have just got buttons or something inside, or Smarties or caramel, and then it just all goes wrong in my house over Easter. I tell you, I spend more time down Morrison's buying more and more Easter eggs to replace the more and more Easter eggs I've already bought for the kids. When me and the missus sit there and go, oh, we've run out of chocolate, should we go and get an Easter egg? Yeah, we'll replace it, it'll be all right. So that's normally my Easter, to be fair. I would say it makes me get fat, but I'm still, there's more fat on a Robin Redbreast than there is on me at this moment in time. So there we go. Right, the grid is up for race 2. Anthony Jacobson is in first, Mick Barry second, Charles Kellerman third, Arnold Chagnon fourth, Darren McLean fifth, Martin Sampson sixth, Carl Jacklett seventh, Miles Owens eighth, John Sylvester ninth, Tom Griffith in 10th, Steve Evan 11th, PBG down in 12th place. Beyond that, Jamie Ayres, Darryl Wright, Andy Littler, Sir Alan Toon, Daniel Hunt, Elise Main, Steve Hansford, Ralph Cullinan round out the top 20 with Jason Haddington down in last place after being taken out by his teammate of all people. And it is Anthony Jacobson out in front. It looked like Darren McLean got a little bit of a jump start there, or maybe that was just my eyes, as Charles Kellerman is trying to thread the eye of a needle through the middle, and they're going 3 banks of 3. That's not going to work, and there goes Darren McLean off straight away at the beginning. Darren McLean is off. There is more off as well. Arnold Chagnon gone down the order. Jason Haddington managed to survive, and he's overtaken his teammate. He left at the back end there. Arnold Chagnon is off in the green car as well for Air Smart Race, and I would say it doesn't look like everybody's made it through cleanly, especially these two individuals here, Jamie Ayres and Daniel Hunt. So they've had a coming together in race 2 as well, Zach.
So on the wound for Daniel Hunt, and obviously it's coming off the high of Jamie Ayres, and now all the way back in P20. Goes to show exactly what we said in qualifying. You cannot get comfortable in a championship like this. Things will always turn against you at a moment's notice. Just when you think everything's going well, yeah, no, it's not sunshine. It really isn't. A car going slowly down the pit straight. That might be Mick Barry pulling over to just let a couple of people through side by side between Tom Griffiths and Carl Jacklett going through Paddock Hill Bend as well. Close fight for the lead between Charles Kellerman and Martin Sampson as well. Ducking and diving in towards Druids. Bit of a send to the inside. Oh my word, the send for the lead. Beautifully done. And well, that promotes Martin Sampson up into the lead of this race in towards Druids. But look at this, what we got, the top 9.
Yep.
Just separated by nothing. Absolutely nothing in the opening stage of this race. Say what you want about the start, but well, it's invited this to happen, and bring it on.
Yeah, there they all are on the track. Griffiths just missed the back end of Charles Kellerman. One of the PRTs there, that is Miles Owens. He's fighting his way back through the order, currently sitting in 5th behind Mick Barry with the pink roll bars. PVG's trying to come up the inside. John Sylvester will try and look to follow him as well as they go round down the start-finish straight now. Here is the guys at the front with Charles Kellerman holding on with Tom Griffiths. For how long, we don't really know that, Zach, really. Tom's generally quick here, so for Kellerman to do a number and try and hold on as best as he can, he's got to be hugging every inside corner he can probably get hold of, to be honest.
Is it in his best interest to defend, though? That's the thing, is the more he defends, the more the people behind him are going to want to try and overtake. Is it a matter of if? Is it a matter of when Tom Griffiths overtakes? That is the sort of question you've got to bode, because Tom Griffiths is very, very quick. Looking to the inside of Surtees, we'll see how hard Charles Kellerman fights it. Not at all. Looks like PBG on the final lap in race 1, letting him through like that and coming through Clark Curve. And well, it seems that Tom Griffiths now is in pursuit of Martin Sampson, potentially maybe trying to do the 995 a couple of favours with Kellerman to hold him up a little bit. But Tom Griffiths, yeah, he's released now, up 8 places in the opening moments of this race and is eyeing up a fight for the lead. Mick Barry, though, all aboard his express to John Sylvester and Steve Efford trying to put a bit of pressure on. There goes Steve Efford looking to the right hand side through Paddock Hill Bend, side by side as they go through the first corner. Can Steve Efford get us put to the foot to the floor and put some pressure on, maybe so in towards Druids, but, well, the gap very quickly closing and he doesn't quite have the speed boxed in, really, but still getting himself side by side on the exit.
Yeah, he needed to make sure John Sylvester did not come back through. Mick Barry is either pulling Hefford through or he's holding him up here, because at one point he's helping and in other parts of the track he's hindering. So from Mick Barry's point of view, he needs to be looking forward, and Mick's a great guy, and he's not going to take offence at anything I'm saying, and he will try and do his best as best he can. He obviously, as we all know, the famous Interlagos, Mick Barry coming across the line on the inside of Steve Hefford, took the first AM overall victory ever in the championship, and that is represented on the JBB intro at the end. And yes, I did scream that loud. I was stood up in my office screaming my head off for Mick Barry to come across the line in first place, and he did do that. Hefford is now got the inside line. There was a little contact that's going to allow Sylvester through at the same time. Elise Main, we haven't seen much of the Lioness this evening, being chased, fighting away with the Irishman of Ralph Cullinan. Of course, these two did not have a great race one anymore, and then, well, they're down in 10th and 11th currently at the moment, but it is Jacklett, Owens, Hefford, then we've got Van Gaal, Kellerman, Griffiths and Sampson. It's going to be a fight right to the end here, Zach, I think.
I completely agree. I think it's going to be fantastic. The fight for the lead, though, Martin Sampson, Tom Griffiths, 1v1 for them too. Bit of a fight back in the background as well. Tom Griffiths to the inside of Paddock Hill Bend. Not really too hard for PVG, working his way up the field as well. He's up into third place, up 9 places from the initial getaway of the race. And now if he can get away from this chase and pack, he might see himself trying to close in. But the send to the inside, beautifully done by Charles Kellerman. Also Carl Jacklett trying to get into the mix as well, trying to put the Dutchman on the back foot. Pete Van Gaal's progress has been halted by an absolutely sensational send to the inside by the 67 machine. That was so late on the brakes. However, Martin Sampson's held it off through Graham Hill. He's now off the circuit. He's rejoining, and that front left does not look very good, James, I've got to be honest.
Well, there's nothing on it. I think that's the interesting thing there as well. There's literally nothing on that car. He's got no bumper as well. There's another green behind him. I think that's Hansford has had a go round at the same time. Kellerman now is the only optical car remaining with Carl Jacklett in the top 10. At least Main's just sneaking in there, mind you, just purely because of the ones that have just dropped out of Hansford and Sampson. Of course, the two opticals there as well. But these guys are battling away. And that absolute send from Charles Kellerman on the inside of PVG was incredible, but it's back here again. When we look at this, we've got the Momos of Miles Owens, the Momo, oh no, Miles Owens and the PRT. Miles Owens there has gone round just as we were talking about him, which is always the way, always the way.
Do you believe in the commentators, Curse, James?
I'm not even sure anymore, Zach, to be honest. I think it's a load of hishwash, but at the same time, it does seem that every time I talk about someone, they end up doing more pirouettes than a ballet dancer. So, who knows?
It's the James Curse.
No, you're not just pinning it on me.
Of course I am.
No.
Yeah.
Talk about somebody, then they'll go off, and then we'll say.
All right, well, we've got Daniel Hunt here, who's not really had the best of days. He's now fighting for P9. Is he going to have a bit of a spin-off? He's doing a really good job of working his way back towards the front of the field. He's up 8 places now. Now trying to look his way, maybe to the inside of Druids, does Elise Main. She's obviously trying to put on a bit of a fight for the ex-championship leader. Daniel Hunt, his sights is very much focused on Ralph Cullinan. Fast slap of the race by a good couple of attempts as well. A 51.37 going the way of the 07 machine. He is on fire, and look at that, James, he's still going.
Yeah, all right. And do you know the figures as well, right? I'm not silly. I've been around the block for a bit. Did you hear his choice of words? He was very complimentary in the words, almost willing something to happen. He thought the more compliments he'll pay him, the more chance it might have happened, and it didn't happen. So now Zach's sitting there with a big old head on his shoulders, sitting there thinking, I could talk about people and they don't spin off, where unfortunately for me, I just end up talking about people like Carl Jacklett, like John Sylvester. Sylvester's trying to go up the inside here as well. Jacklett is a hard fighter. He is not going to go down. He has not got a glass jaw. He will go down, and it will take a rock to put him down, and Steve Hefford nearly put him down with a rock into his rear left bumper there. That could have been quite interesting, Zach.
not Mario Kart, unfortunately. Get some banana peels out on circuit. There's the dive in towards McLaren, then in towards Clark. Oh, that is as close as you'd like it from John Sylvester. Now he's got to try and stay in the slipstream, put some pressure on. Defensive goes Carl Jacklett. He's trying to defend that 4th place as best as he possibly can. The podium is a little bit out of reach, as you can see just in the foreground of shot. Charles Kellerman a little bit up the road. John Sylvester looking to the outside. Steve Pfeffer trying to get the up and under, take the racing line. If he can keep the power up, he might actually have a good look here for 5th place. Inside line as they run their way through. There he goes. Follows Carl Jacklett through in spectacular fashion. That's exactly the types of thing you have to do. Now John Sylvester's got Mick Barry knocking on his door, and well, there we go. Steve Pfeffer, I think in terms of opportunistic racecraft and things like that, Steve Pfeffer has really impressed me so far today.
Yeah, he knows where to put the car. That's a scary thing from Steve. He knows where to put that car. If he sees somebody going on the inside and that person's gone on the outside, you can guarantee he's going to follow through that inside line. He's not going to be silly and try and go around the outside with the other guy. He'll follow through. So there we go. And oh yes, exactly. What happened to Hunt after Zach's commentary? Well, Daniel Hunt did this.
Let's have a look. What's happened to him? He's in the pit lane at the moment, into Paddock Hill. Oh, wheel on the grass in a bit. Yeah, off you go in a bit, mate. Yeah. Ooh, into the barrier. Yeah, there's no way you're stopping that car with the off-road physics in iRacing. I've got to say, it's not the commentator's curse. It's the commentator's coincidence. There's no such thing as the curse, only bad driving.
Mate, the thing is, I don't get it. I don't get that. That's the problem. I don't understand this commentator's curse thing, because it happens at moments when we're talking about them, right? We all know what it does. We're talking about a driver saying how well they're doing, like I did the other day with Neil Stevenson in the DSRL TCR League, and you know, unfortunately for him, he went off. But that's the thing. Now, if anybody in chat can give me a remote reason why, when we're talking about people, they end up going off track, I'll be more than happy to have an answer, because to be honest, it drives me crazy. We're not in the car. We're not driving the car. We're just talking about the cars on track. And unfortunately, it seems to happen at them moments, Zach.
It does indeed. Side by side fighting their way through. Steve Pfeffer going to try and chuck the car back up the inside of Graham Hill Bend. Round the outside though, Carl Jacklett using the momentum-based corner to really swing himself to the outside. Steve Pfeffer's caught on the inside, might be under a bit of pressure from John Sylvester. Through Surtees into the final couple of corners. Not really any way through unless you've already been alongside. So it's all about that run. Get your cars up to speed as possible as you work your way through the pit straight. Carl Jacklett doing a great job of defending, but yeah, I don't know, we're not in control of the car. It must just be some voodoo magic or something like that. If that again, that depends if it's real. I don't personally believe in the commentator's curse, but a lot of people tend to do so. So to each their own. There's the slide there from Carl Jacklett. Is it all the way around? Yes, it is in a bit. Steve Pfeffer promoted, John Sylvester promoted, Mick Barry promoted, Carl Jacklett tumbling down P9. Is it going to be P10? Is Elise Main coming through the line out shot? Yep. Carl Jacklett down to P10. Well, there we go. That's how the cookie crumbles. And well, this time we didn't actually compliment him on anything.
Exactly. And this is the thing. Winkleface has said it. It's like you have a remote with a button that says go off. Because that's the bizarrest thing ever.
Don't tell the drivers.
Yeah, I know. Don't tell them, because you know we'll pull the steering wheel to the right or something, anything like that as well. But poor old Carl Jacklett there. Not a great end to that. He was already losing control, and unfortunately for Steve Everett, he could just come straight across him. There was nowhere really for Steve to go at all on that one. So unfortunately, Mr. Jacklett, sir, that was all your own doing. Don't forget, we will have to change sessions after this race. In the next 3.5 minutes, we will move over to the group of race 2 and race 3 and race 4, and then we will see how we get on for them races as well. But it is Tom Griffiths out in front with the looming PVG. He's only 4 temps back. Good evening, Puck, by the way. I did see you in there, PVG's brother. So much love for joining us. The gap has come down to about just under 5 temps currently at this moment in time, and it's closing ever so quickly, and it's going to be 2:40 on the clock. They're going to have about 2, maybe 3 more laps here. Owens is trying to bully Hefford off that inside line. If he's going to do it, he's got to start looking and moving out now. He's just pushing Steve Hefford along. Here's Miles Owens as he pushed him into a position where he can get up the inside. He didn't. He jeopardized his own entry, which caused an issue in general, but now the leaders are barely 2 temps apart as we're coming through to the final stages of the race.
Yeah, definitely. Two titans of the championship. Tom Griffiths doing a really, really good job so far in this race. However, Pete Van Gool has been hot on his heels for the last couple of laps. And obviously, as soon as he got in front of the likes of Charles Kellerman, etc., he has been on a mission trying to reel back in the number 16 machine of Griffiths. Now coming into the final couple of laps, I think they are going to get an extra one. We'll check to see if the white flag is being waved. No, it's not. So now on to the penultimate lap of race number 2. Pete Van Gool pulls out to the left-hand side. He's going to brake late. He's got the track to use. Has he got the momentum swing as well? Oh my goodness me. Pete Van Gool catapults himself into the race lead. However, Tom Griffiths still with a bit of a look to the inside of Drury's. He's got to be brave on the brakes. Pete Van Gool, however, once again in deep, a little bit too deep, has to tuck back into situ. Might get the up and under though, downhill in towards Graham Hill Bend. Griffiths hangs on, but that was a very, very good effort from PVG.
Oh, I thought he was going to get it. I've got to be honest. That send round there, the outside, I thought he was going to get that done and dusted. He just didn't quite have the momentum to push it all the way forward. But it doesn't mean he's not going to go. P. Oh, there was contact. PVG slowed right down and allowed Griffiths back through. I'm sorry, Griffiths to retake the position that he was already going to have anyway. Pete could have gone full speed. It's still not going to be the final lap of the race. They're still going to have one more to go. But this is it, the final lap. Your two gladiators of the MX5 from the UK SimRacers. Tom Griffiths, Pete Van Gool, championship rivals currently at this moment in time as well. And it is going to be a fight to the end. Let's see how this one pans out here at the end of race 2. Zach, if you're going to predict, who you're going to predict quick?
Oh, PVG, I don't know, he might be able to go for the send. However, the sportsmanship from PVG might sense that he's happy to stay in second, particularly from a consistency point of view, into the final couple of corners. And unless there's any almighty send, it's going to go the way of Griffiths.
Yeah, I think it is as well. Tom Griffiths is going to take that win. PVG will be in second place as they come over the line here for the final time this evening. And it is the white flag. Oh, okay, they've got one more. They managed to, blimey, they managed to get an extra one in. And here we go. Our scrap bar I just writ down on the sheet because I thought that was all done and dusted. And now they've got one more to go, Zach.
They do indeed, and while the pressure is on, this is where Pete Van Gool is going to put that MX5 into overdrive and try and manufacture some way through. He's got to put the pressure on Griffiths, but into the final half of the lap, it's going to be tricky to do so. He's got to try his absolute best. Griffiths going all the way to the right-hand side of the circuit in towards 30. He's using every inch of circuit available just to minimise the chances of PVG finding a way through. Outside line as they go in towards Clark, parking it on the apex beautifully as Griffiths. No way for the switchback for Pete Van Gool. The run to the line, and it's going the way of Tom Griffiths.
Yeah, Tom Griffiths is going to take this as well. He's going to hug that inside line. He's not going to allow PVG through. He's coming down to the line. Griffiths takes it with PVG in second place. Here is Steve Hefford. He's going to come over the line with Jamie Ayres. And it is a Momo free again. They're pulling out points of Platinum Racing like a burglar robbing a bank at the moment. They are just stealing them all over the place with Carl Jacklett coming through, Ralph Cullen, Carl Jacklett, John Sylvester, Elise Main, and Darren McLean, Charles Kellerman. Arnold Chagnonier does take the victory with Mick Barry in second place, and in third there is Darrell Wright, the championship leader. So that is going to bring us to the end of race 2. Miles Owens, Alan Toon, Jason Addington and Steve Hansford come over the line. And where is Andy Littler currently? There he is, Andy Littler over the line as well. So that rounds out the end of race 2. We will bring you up the official results here this evening, and they will appear on your screen. There you go. Tom Griffiths is in first, PVG in second, Steve Hefford third, Jamie Ayres fourth, Ralph Cullen fifth, Carl Jacklett sixth, John Sylvester in seventh, Elise Main eighth, Darren McLean ninth, Charles Kellerman 10th, Arnold Chagnonier 11th, Mick Barry 12th, Miles Owens 13th, down in 13th for Owens, 14th Darrell Wright, so Alan Toon 15th, Jason Haddington, rotten 2 races so far in 16th, Steve Hansford 17th, Andy Littler down in 18th place, Anthony Jacobson down in 19th there as well, your pole man all the way down in 19th, Daniel Hunt 20th and Martin Sampson in 21st place. Right guys, we are going to head to a very short break as we change over sessions, so as always we'll see you after this break. Okay, guys, we are back here once again on the JBB YouTube channel with myself and Zach Sweeney, bringing you race 3 and 4 ready to go. PVG with his cool glasses, thumbs up, rocking sign there as he took second place in race 2. Absolutely stellar job from him as well. That practice session, it seems a little bit long. I'm sure they will advance the session as soon as anybody gets in, if everybody gets in to the session there as well. So thank you so much for joining us. Big news today as I turn on YouTube. I see that JBB have hit over 800 subscribers already, which is absolutely incredible considering the first race was back in September last year, and it was the UkSimracers were the first ever race broadcasted on the JPB YouTube channel. And then we're moving on now, what's that, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, 8 months, and we're gaining about 100 subscribers per month, and now we're on 800, which is absolutely incredible news for us all here. So much love to everybody from who has subscribed and has supported the channel as well, from all of us at JBB. And there is quite a few of us now. There wasn't back in September, but there's now a good few of us, and Zach Sweeney is one of them, who is still here in the booth with me. Good evening. I hope you're still enjoying yourself, Zach.
I'm having fun. It's JPB, isn't it? Like, you can't not have fun.
Exactly. What more could you ask for? Enjoyed some epic racing, some great conversations, and you got people like Phil in chat just giving you grief for no reason. What more do you want?
Exactly. I mean, Phil, to be fair, Phil's the only reason I come back week in, week out. He gives me my source of entertainment. But also beyond that, I mean, we've got, I'd say, one of the most diverse sets of league action that you can ask for, really. I mean, we've got MX5s, radicals, single seaters, touring cars, endurances, nostalgic F1 leagues. What don't we tick off? We tick all the boxes, James. We're awesome.
Exactly, and NASCAR, just for good health as well. And on this Thursday morning, it will be Thursday morning for us up here, Friday morning for us up here in the UK, we're going to Gen 4s as well. So another variation of the NASCAR. The Gen 4 will be coming onto the JBB YouTube channel as well, in the shape of what they are actually called is the Triple Bypass Racing League, which I think is absolutely amazing. They're coming onto JBB as well. And if you haven't checked out the IGP Fun, go and check that out from last Sunday. There was 59 Formula 3s hurtling around Mosport, which is not the longest circuit in the world ever, and there was 59 of them. And then the week before at Interlagos there was 62. So there we go. I'm just so proud of my PC, the fact they're still managing to hold up after that, because it did have to do some work, let's put it that way, last Sunday. But yeah, I think we have literally covered everything, haven't we? I'm going to have a look back now as well, because I think you weren't too far off the money there with what we are covering. Clios, MX5s, NASCAR, Porsche Cups, SK Super Series, W12s, Radicals, oh, what else? Where else are we at? We've got the Gen 4, TCRs, Peck Endurance this week as well. The VWC Historic still from the R Factor is there as well. The Formula GT Round 2 is kicking off as well. And of course the Formula 3. So we've literally got every basis of motor racing that you want. So Zach, you weren't too far off there.
Oh yeah, I've commentated on a lot of them, so I've sort of got it in my bank. And speaking of commentators, I mean, we've got James Parfitt. He's a VCO Simi best commentary nominee here. So you know, JPB, we got a nice CV. I think we're not doing too bad. I think in terms of our resume.
No, definitely not either. I think that's one of the things. And we have just recently signed up with the guys at the Platinum Endurance Championship as well. We will be their official broadcaster for the whole of 2023. So we will be covering their Season 3 and Season 4. So there we go as well. So that will be part of it, of the JBB, and we have just signed up with the Platinum Endurance Championship, so that is absolutely amazing news. And of course signed up with Sim Stickers for the JBB Clio Cup, so you can go and check them out at simstickers.co.uk and simlife.co.uk, and they will be donating trophies for the top 3 winners in the AMs and the pros of the Clio Cup at the same time. So there's a lot going on here this season, should we say, of iRacing, because there's a lot of things that have happened and a lot of changes that are still coming, and I'm sure we're working constantly in the background on more and more announcements as the season goes on. So it's just one step after another here for us at JPB, and steps that we're all excited to be taking collectively as well. But race 3, 6.5 minutes left to practice. I'm surprised these sessions haven't been advanced like they did last week. Maybe they are just waiting for the last ones to come in before they advance the session ready to go. Race 3 is a bit of a weird one, really, I find, Zach, here in this championship, because it could be manic and then it could be really quiet, and then race 4 brings the manic and the chaosness. What do we think we're going to get this week?
Well, I mean, race 1 sort of had a calm before the storm.
Yeah.
It was still a really good race, but the initial getaway was quite tricky. We had race 2, which then obviously had the carnage and chaos at the start, still then progressed into some really good racing towards the end. Maybe we'll alternate. Maybe we'll go calm, chaotic for the whole week, for the whole weekend, for the whole evening.
For the whole weekend,
potentially. Yeah, whole weekend. Honestly, I wish with these guys. But we might alternate, or we might just go chaotic all the way for the rest of the evening. Obviously, with a random reverse grid format, we could still have a very chaotic race to get underway with, because the AMs will be towards the front, the pros will be trying to fight their way through. It could go anyway, but here's how they line up for race 3.
Yeah, Jamie Ayres, Darrell Wright, Arnold Chagnon, Miles Owens, Daniel Hunt, Mick Barry, Sir Alan Toon, Pete Van Gool, Tom Griffiths, Steve Hefford there as well in at 9th, Charles Kellerman 10th, Darren McLean in 11th, Andy Littler, Jason Huntington, Carl Jacklett, Anthony Jacobson, John Sylvester, Elise Main, Ralph Cullen and Martin Sampson rounds up your top 20, with Steve Hansford down in 21st. We are ready to go. Jamie Ayres is already on the grid. There was no hanging around from him. We are on it like a car bonnet here. The lights are going to be out very, very shortly, and we are going to be green once again for race 3, and we are away, and Jamie Ayres got an absolute flyer. Daniel Hunt went absolutely nowhere and is dropping down the order there as well. Tom Griffiths got another man with a flying start, but Darrell Wright also with Chagnon right beside him, and Miles Owens from Platinum Racing Team on the run up into the hill. Mick Barry's sent them free wide. He's decided he's had enough. That's it. Barry's gone for it. Nearly round. It is nearly John Sylvester there. He's plummeted down the order a little bit already, but at the moment, all clean, Zach, all clean.
For the most part, absolutely. A bit of a fight just in behind Steve Hefford, Daniel Hunt, Tom Griffiths, Pete Van Gool all fighting over the same bit of tarmac. Also Mick Barry, Miles Owens fighting over 3rd place. Not really much of a fight, because Mick Barry sort of allows him through. Doesn't really put up much of a challenge, but still up 2 places. Does the 675 machine up in 4th place there for Mick Barry. So if he's able to hang on to this, definitely wouldn't be too bad of a result, but still very, very close, very, very chaotic in the opening moments of race number 3, because, well, Brands Indy invites that style of racing. As we've said, the majority of the top 10 separated by less than a second. The majority of the field, well, the entire field actually separated by less than a second. Here's the move though. Arnaud Chagnon trying to get the up and under. Beautifully done. Up bow in towards Druids, inside line. And, well, that is textbook, really. Brilliantly done from the 142 machine. He's now up into 3rd place, and, well, Mick Barry expects him to potentially tumble. However, he still is doing a good job, actually. No, very wide through Graham Hill. That's going to allow a lot of people through.
Commentator's curse there, Zach. You said he was just doing a good job, and he spins off.
Whatever.
So there we go. Commentator's curse there from Zach Sweeney, as he says Mick Barry is doing well. Mick Barry goes off track. So Mick, all DMs to Mr. Zach Sweeney. Thank you very much. Not to myself. I'm sorry, mate. It's got to be done. You've got to take some of the brunt this evening. So there we go.
I've had enough of it from Phil.
I know. Phil's giving you grief every single week. Chagnon, leave the door, sir. He was coming. And Hefford did come through as we're on top of Steve Hefford's MX5. He's now chasing down Daniel Hunt with Miles Owens in front of him as well. Arnold Chagnon got bullied out there. Griffiths come through at the same time. Where is PVG? He's trying to go. Oh, he's hit the grass. Stop it. Oh, he did. PVG there hit the grass and has gone down the order, unfortunately. Ralph Cullen's having a good old scrap down here with Steve Hansford, the Irishman himself. I haven't seen much of Ralph this season. Not sure why that is, but Ralph is here still fighting away down in currently 16th place. So Alan Toon and Elise Main going side by side down the start-finish straight once again here, as these guys go plummeting down into Paddock Hill. Steve, looks like the PVG Momo in front there as well has gone through. It looks like Pete's livery is actually loaded correctly. He's now in the red and white rather than the black and white, which he was in the first two races. But Carlos Jacqueline has got Jason Hannington right behind him. He's got his teammate Arnold Chagnon in front of him. Could Chagnon do Hannington a favour here, or are we thinking different class, no need to?
It depends, obviously, on the driver and their opinions on what they're thinking. Maybe so. I mean, different classes. If you can still influence and have a good sort of do someone you know and your mates with a helping hand, and fair play. I mean, you might as well. But interclass battles are always going to be a little bit trickier to judge. And well, there's still championship points to hand in all fairness. So you might want to go for the move yourself, working their way through in towards Paddock Hill Bend. And Jacqueline is still doing a good job of hanging on to P7, but well, in the early stages that you can't really call much, you can't predict much, because everyone's still so close together that it's just carnage and chaos.
Yeah, same down here as well. Ralph Cullinan with Darren McLean right behind him, Elise Main in front of him, and then there was a move at the back from Steve Hansford over Darrell Wright there as well. So there's battles all the way through the field here. There's these pack of cars, and then you go further back and you got Jason Hannington with John Sylvester, and then you go up to the front three where they are literally all together, bar Jamie Ayres, who's 4.1 up the road. But this is Miles Owens, Daniel Hunt, Steve Hefford, Tom Griffiths. They split like the red arrows all at the same time there. How is that one going to pan out as they go down now? Has Owens jeopardised his exit, taking too much of that curb? He's hugging the inside line. Hefford tucked up right behind him. Daniel Hunt on the right. Here we go now, round into Druids. He's got to come back across the track. He's got to block that door off. He's got to do it. There we go. Miles does get it done there as well. But that was stunning driving from all three of them there.
Indeed was. It takes, well, in this case, 4 to tango, apparently. But yeah, it's all about the mutual respect. Here comes Hefford looking to the inside, side by side with Daniel Hunt, who's finally trying to have a bit of redemption for his poor evening so far. Through Plant Curve to the inside and up onto the podium. Hangs on to that P3. Does not want to let Miles Owens get away, though. That is going to be a crucial thing, because Jamie Ayres already 4.5 seconds up the road. He is looking fairly dominant in his stride. Steve Hefford already on the counter-attack, looking to the inside of Paddock Hill Bend. Has he got the space on the inside? Not quite. However, a compromised run brings Tom Griffiths back into the spotlight. Could see him spark a bit of a challenge also. Arnaud Chagnon could see himself back into the mix in this fight as well. But Jamie Ayres, yeah, from starting on pole after his poor race number 2, this is pretty much a gifted race victory for him as long as he keeps it clean.
Yeah, he's just literally dominating. You saw him at the top part of your top part of your picture flash through there. So Jamie Ayres has got an absolute stellar lead at the moment, 4.6 seconds, dominating this now. The question's going to be, how long can Owens hang on for? He could really do with this man helping him as much as he possibly can. John Sylvester needs to clear Carl Jacqueline. He needs to go up and give Owens a wingman. He needs to help him, because at the moment Owens has got the likes of Daniel Hunt, who is on the hunt for the man in front. Steve Hefford, Tom Griffiths, Chagnon trying to maybe even looking at getting involved as well. Hunt is now trying to go on the outside. PVG fastest man on the circuit, 51.664. Hunt's gone. Oh, Hunt under his own steam has gone. Daniel Hunt coming out of Druids ends this hunt, and he got no kill this time around, and it certainly wasn't Miles Owens put on the dinner table there for Daniel Hunt, unfortunately, Zach.
No, unfortunately not. So yeah, that is just from bad to worse for Daniel Hunt. As soon as it looks good, it comes tumbling back down again for the championship leader coming into this race. Definitely not anymore after, well, what is now going to be 3 very, very poor results, which you have to feel some sort of sympathy, empathy, whatever you want to call it, towards him, because yeah, that is definitely going to sting. His final opportunity for at least to scrape something is going to be race number 4, and that is definitely going to be tricky. It's a confidence killer, our evenings like this. Right on board with John Sylvester as he tries to move his way back past Carl Jacqueline. These two have been down each other's throats pretty much for the entire race. Out on the brakes and towards Druids, might have the advantage, bit of a twitch on the rear end though, as he almost locks the rear brakes. But yeah, too much rotation there from the very striking helmet of John Sylvester. However, a slide from obviously Carl Jacklett. See Sylvester not really have to do much hard work to find his way forward.
No, he is done and dusted. He is through here, and that is it. Now we go on to the nose of Steve Hefford, chasing down Miles Owens from the Platinum Racing team. Owens hugging that inside tighter than my daughter hugs her teddy bear at bedtime, I tell you that much. He needs to make sure he's got the inside for Druids. He needs to set him up. He's got to come back. He's going to head to the right hand side of the circuit. There he goes, on board with Hefford now. Hefford's up the inside. Owens, you got to come across. You got to come across. You leave that door open, son. Steve Hefford's coming. He don't need an invitation, mate, I tell you that much, to be taking his position. He's got to run on him now. There was a slight bit of contact. They're going to be side by side up through Surtees. We can see Owens on the top right on the picture at this moment in time. We'll switch over so we can see them coming through McLaren's now. Long right hander of Clark Kerb. Here we go once again. Owens survives this lap, Zach. He survives this lap, but for how long? That's going to be the question.
Well, Steve Hefford definitely not surviving this lap because, well, Tom Griffiths moves his way up ahead. They're side by side through the pit straight up over the crest and towards Paddock Hill Bend. So now it's Tom Griffiths' time. His opportunity to maybe move himself ahead of Miles Owens. It's going to take some bravery, of course, because Miles Owens is putting up a mighty defence, ducking and diving, moves himself towards the apex, forces Tom Griffiths on a wider line. He might just be trying to invite second and third in this train. Tom Griffiths versus Steve Hefford, maybe trying to get these two to have a bit of a scrap, because as soon as they start battling, start trying to decide who's going to have the lead going into fighting with Miles Owens, that could then be Owens' opportunity to try and get away just a little bit, make them squabble between themselves, which means that he can get himself up in front. And exactly like that, because Steve Hefford looking to the inside of Clark Kerr, bit of contact, a little bit shaky. And meanwhile, all it allows Miles Owens to do is have some breathing room. Maybe not a gap on circuit, but certainly some breathing room where he's not under any pressure, ticking off yet another lap. And, well, Miles Owens is under pressure from Tom Griffiths. This is, well, unrelenting pressure from the two behind.
Yeah, and it's a great work out here for Miles Owens, who's managed to hold on for it currently at this moment in time. You can't do that. You can't do that. You leave that door open again, and trust me, you are going to get done. Jacobson and Jacklett, by the looks of it, have had a coming together, or they've gone off at separate parts of the racetrack. But Jacobson has been involved in his own little incident here in race 3. We will have a look. But at the moment, I'm not going to pull away from this Tom Griffiths Miles Owens battle. Up through McLaren they go. Griffiths in the black with the blue and white stripes down the side. Miles Owens in the Platinum Racing red, black, white and red. And then we've got the looming, the formidable, the noticeable Steve Hefford in the Momo red and yellow roll bar car coming now on the outside line. Hefford's going to try this cutback. He's going to try this cutback. He's going to run up the hill. He's going to hope for a better exit, see if he can get it up the inside. He can't this time. Miles Owens instantly to the right. Hefford's going to follow it through. Contact! Oh, no, no, no! That ain't cricket, I know.
No, can't be doing that, unfortunately. Heat of the moment, mistake, too late on the brakes, too eager. Miles Owens trying his best to defend. It's going to happen, but it is a shame when it does. Tom Griffiths up to second. Steve Hefford loses the place to John Sylvester down to fourth. Big consequences, of course. And, well, Steve Hefford and Momo aren't going to be complaining. It's one less platinum to worry about in this race. More points that they can gain relative to their main team's championship rivals. However, big disappointment for Miles Owens, who is still struggling to get those tyres back into an operatable window, whereby he's actually a little comfortable. Now he's got Jason Haddington on his tail here up to, well, this is Steve Hefford. He's now just been overtaken by Arnaud Chagnon. Has he suffered some damage in that collision?
No. Do you know what Steve's going to do? And
let him through?
Yeah, he's going to let him through. He knows that wasn't cricket. And that contact was unavoidable, and he will jeopardise his own to allow Miles Owens to come back through. You are watching what is called sportsmanship here this evening, and I think Steve Hefford is going to be allowing Miles Owens back through, because Steve has lost a lot of places to people that we would not expect him to lose places to. Chagnon, Van Gaal, Kellerman, Hefford. Now, obviously, if he doesn't let him through, we're going to be look like we've got egg on our face here, but I think that could be possibly why Steve is trying to maintain his position where he is and allow Miles Owens back through at the same time as Owens is going to take that position away, and Hefford's going to try and slot him right behind him there once again. And that alone, regarding the contact, is what racing's all about.
Yeah, it's a nice touch, nice sentiment. Obviously, bravo to Steve Hefford. It definitely takes a lot of humility and obviously maturity to accept your wrongdoings and obviously slow yourself down and compromise your own race. What it doesn't change the fact that Owens is now in 7th as opposed to 2nd, which, you know, he can't go back and change that. He's only doing all that he can. Whether he still gets a penalty or not is another thing entirely. He's damaged his own race, ruined his own race to allow Miles Owens through. But yeah, doesn't change the fact that unfortunately Owens is out of the fight for the podium, but definitely good sportsmanship like we saw with Pete Van Gaal a little bit earlier on as well. But yeah, regardless of which, it's been a really a nice sentiment, and whether he now tries to mount a challenge or not is another thing, because, well, he's just let him through and we might be able to snatch it straight back off of him.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the thing. He's got to give it a good old go here as well, but I think that's basically just sums it up. I don't see the point. Oh, there we go. He's got the inside line now, mind you. Steve Evans got the inside run. I wouldn't see the point in that one, giving him a penalty, partly because he's just lost a bunch of positions trying to let the man back through that he took out. So from that point of view, don't give him a penalty. There's really no point. He's done it out of, he's provided sportsmanship that goes with it. There's no real reason to punish somebody who has done that and punish their own race, really. I think that's the thing, because he's allowed him back through. So I don't see the point in handing Steve Hefford any more punishments than what he's already done to himself. It just defies the object to me. I can't see that being worth doing. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe we have a slight split opinion on that, in all fairness, as he tries to work his way through to Steve Hefford. Once again, looking to the inside of Druids, gets the squeeze from the Platinum Racing Team car. Of course, these two teams are a bit of rivalry for the championship. Inside line now for the metallic red Momo car. Pushes Miles Owens just a little bit wide. However, the invite back to the inside for Owens sees him try and take control into Graham. He'll bend a little bit sideways once again. Tire smoke kicking up. A little bit sideways. Quick hands, of course. And, well, relinquishes the place back to Steve Hefford. Unfortunately, onto the white flag lap, though. The final time by Jamie Ayres, well and truly in control.
Yeah. Contact again between Steve Hefford and Miles Owens, unfortunately, there as well, when we come to the final lap of the race. First is pretty much summed and done here with Jamie Ayres. He's been dominating really in the pros from the start of the race. In the AMS, it's looking like Sean Yonye, but then also for Sean Yonye, his AMS teammate Jason Hannington has got Darrell Wright right behind him. So unfortunately for him, it's not going to be an Ayres 1-2 in the AMS. But where is Jamie Ayres currently on? Hold on, where actually is Jamie Ayres currently on track? As we picked up first place man Tom Griffiths.
Disconnect?
Whatever it is, he's done. He's out. I think Griffiths is going to take this, not through any point of his own there. Sean Yonye is going to come across the line and take the AMS. I've got a funny feeling Jamie Ayres may have disconnected there.
That is the worst way to lose a race win.
Owens does finish ahead of Hefford, but that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it happens. It's sim racing. Obviously, it's the equivalent of your gearbox or your drive shaft given up in real life, I suppose. It is sort of that carryover. The spontaneous DNFs, it happens. It's bad luck. But, yeah, it's not the way you want things to go. That's 2 bad races in a row for Jamie Ayres after taking victory in race number 1.
On the final lap, near enough to final corner.
Lap, yeah. That's horrible luck. Really is horrible luck, and I'm sure he's kicking himself. It might just be a case of his dog tripped over the Wi-Fi cable or something like that. If it's that, that's even bad. Because what happens is you can't blame anyone. If you have a spin, you're just like, oh yeah, I can blame myself, or I can blame the guy that spun me out. But when it's a disconnect, you got no one to hand the blame to. It's just unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. But Tom Griffiths is showing as your winner with John Sylvester in second, PVG in third, Arnold Chagnonier fourth, Charles Kellerman fifth, Miles Owen sixth, Steve Hefford seventh, Ralph Cullinan eighth, Darrell Wright ninth, Jason Haddington in 10th there. Massive shout out to Chagnonier. Not only did he finish the leader of the AMS, but he's also fourth place overall, which is absolutely stunning from him there. Andy Littler in 12th, Jamie Ayres 13th, Mick Barry 14th, Elise Main 15th, Carl Jacklett 16th, Sir Alan Toon 17th, and Darren McLean down in 18th place. Anthony Jacobson 19th, Daniel Hunt 20th, and Martin Sampson 21st. Now, Jamie Ayres is registered in 13th place there. So partly, I wonder if that's because obviously everybody else was laps down behind him and was never going to catch him there as well. But that's unfortunate for Jamie Ayres as we go into a brief 5-minute warm-up before we go into the final race of this evening. I don't think race 3 disappointed at all, Zach, to be fair.
It did not. It had everything. We had the action. Obviously, we had Jamie Ayres running away with it a little bit, which sort of robbed us for a fight for the lead, which didn't matter in the end. But in all fairness, it was a really good race fight for the podium. The drama, the chaos between the two championship rivals of Platinum and Momo. Yeah, can't complain with race 3. I think the initial start was all right. It was clean for the most part. The majority of the race was clean for the most part again, which in a format and a series like this, yeah, fair play, is definitely a good effort from everyone. But now race 4, final opportunity. If you've had a bad week, I was about to say weekend again. If you've had a bad evening, you can redeem yourself for it, and you can bring your way back maybe into a decent result, end on a high. Desperation is going to be high, obviously, and obviously so is tension. So race 4 is the one to look out for. We've always seen some pretty chaotic race 4s, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely stunning evening. Guessing Craig Jones has not had a good time. Neither has Anthony Jacobson. Hate this car. Bring back the GR86. And Craig's there going, no, GR86 needs to be pushed off a cliff. Well, maybe, Craig, what you can do is let Anthony Jacobson go and do WSR in the GR86. You come back and drive his MX5, and then both of you are happy. Sounds like a perfect deal, doesn't it? Send one way transfer, isn't it? It's like being in the British football transfer market. Transfer Craig Jones out, bring in Anthony Jacobson and go the other way. Perfect.
No hesitation. Straight on it deal from Craig Jones.
I reckon as well. Sounds like an ideal scenario here as well. I don't know how many races, Craig, you got left though, so you might have to relinquish your place at some point because you can't let Anthony Jacobson not do the whole, all of it. How many races you got? 7, 8, 6? I don't even know what race number you're up to. I just hear you every week moaning about the car and the GR86. So makes you wonder why you didn't just stay here. The thing is, the car, it's a tricky car, mate. I'm not going to lie. You've got to treat it with kid gloves and be very, very gentle. And Craig Jones just clearly hasn't got them gentle hands where he doesn't damage everything he touches by yanking on the steering wheel too much, I guess.
Yeah, he might be better at hacksawing than steering, I guess. I think the suspension's too soft. It's got too much lean. The body roll is a lot on the GR86. When it works, it works. But I was trying to do it around Summit Point a couple of weeks or a few weeks ago, actually, just for one of the official races. I just couldn't get into a rhythm with it. A couple of corners I was quick. One of them I wasn't. The braking is a bit weird. Ran a Gunaseka. Loved it. It was a great car. I had a lot of fun with it. But it was quite temperamental. The body roll, the nature of it. Between the two of them, between the two quote unquote starter cars of iRacing, I prefer the MX5. It's stiffer, it's more agile, it sounds nicer. I don't know. I'm with Craig Jones. I agree that the MX5 is the way to go. You were in iRacing the other day. No, a few weeks ago.
Oh, so what, driving the GR86?
Yeah.
So you are. I didn't actually think you were at iRacing.
I do. I just don't renew it because I just can't bother to. Because the thing is, I love the F4 car. I love the RA4. It's such a good car. So much fun. But I don't want to pay for the whole season of tracks, and I don't want to pay for the subscription. So if I feel like iRacing, I'll just whack on £8, and if the track's there, if I've got it, I'll do it. If not, I might fork out for it. Depends if it's a good track or not. But yeah, I'm very very temperamental with iRacing. Maybe birthday's coming up in a few weeks. Might just be like, yeah, do you want to put on a few months of iRacing? I don't know.
When is your birthday?
19th of April.
Oh, that's the same day as my mum's.
Is it actually?
It is, yeah.
Happy birthday to your mum. I'll make sure to wish her happy birthday when I blow up my candles.
Yeah, put it on Instagram. I'm sure she'll be made up. Happy birthday from Zach Sweeney to JPB James's mum. That'd be quite amusing. My mum would probably love that. Not going to lie. Right, grid up for the final race of the evening. Martin Sampson is in first, Daniel Hunt second, Anthony Jacobson third, Darren McLean fourth, Sir Alan Toome fifth, Carl Jacklett sixth, Elise Main seventh, Mick Barry eighth, Jamie Ayres ninth, Andy Littler 10th, Steve Hansford 11th, and Jason Haddington down in 12th place. Darrell Wright 13th, Ralph Cullen 14th, Steve Evans 15th, Miles Owen 16th, Charles Kellerman 17th, Arnold Chagnon 18th, PVG 19th, John Sylvester down in 20th, and Tom Griffiths down in 21st place. Martin Sampson on pole position this time around, so get ready for this one here, as we're going to be off again for the final race, the final 15 minutes of the evening here, with Martin Sampson in leading of the AMs. Anthony Jacobson's just waiting, did not get a start. Anthony, you're in third place, sunshine. Here we go, the lights are going to be out. We are green, green, green. Martin Sampson did not go anywhere, neither did Elise Main. And now it is all going to be a bunched up fight further back in that mid-pack. There it all is. Steve Heather's trying to get through. Elise Main did not go anywhere. Darren McLean went somewhere, but wherever it was, he's going to need a bucket and spade and build sandcastles out in the gravel trap of Paddock Hill at this moment in time. But Martin Sampson is leading the way with Daniel Hunt tucked up right behind him at the moment. Ralph Cullen is mixed up in this, what is only can be conceived as an absolute epic mound of cars, as he's trying to go up the inside of one of the PRT boys there as well. Somebody's gone round. That is Ralph Cullinan, and who is that? That's Carl Jacklett. Cullinan and Jacklett off the track already, right at the beginning of race 4. Zach, yeah, race 4. Welcome.
Yeah, it's always the chaotic one. End of the evening, everyone's tired. Everyone has had the few races. Maybe you're a bit fed up, or maybe you just want to get the evening over and done with. But yeah, for sure, a bit of carnage, a bit of chaos side by side in the background. That's between Mick Barry and Steve Hefford, who moves his way up ahead. Outside line going into Paddock Hill. Ben versus Mick Barry, who holds his own, says, no, you don't, not in this time, Mr. Hefford. I'm going to hold my own. However, does need a bit of a bucket and spade. Dips a couple of wheels onto the gravel in towards Druid. Steve Hefford says, thank you very much. Capitalises on a couple of dirty tyres and moves his way up into 6th place. Eyeing up Andy Littler, though, just in front of him, literally directly in front of him, and maybe be able to use each driver, each car as a hop, skip, and a jump all the way to the next one and all the way up the field. There he goes, up into 5th place. Now 4th place is Sir Alan Toone, allows them both through. Mick Barry also follows the 72 machine of Steve Hefford through into 4th place as well. But yeah, a bit of an awkward start. There's Tom Griffiths as well. He's making his way up the field. Pete Van Gool also up 10 apiece for the two championship rivals. So well, in all fairness, a couple of really respectable starts in race number 4.
Yeah, Daniel Hunt's off. Daniel Hunt is off and gone, unfortunately for Hunt. He went off at the corner there, so that is, and also this man has also just gone off at the same time as Miles Owens. So Miles Owens is out. Anthony Jacobson, Darren McLean, Jason Haddington, Dan Hunt. They have all gone this evening there as well. The start didn't help. It was a very, very slow getaway from the front. And unfortunately, everybody who made perfect starts just got bunched up there and all got stuck near each other. They couldn't really go anywhere. It was almost like a concertina effect, wasn't it, Zach? They all went very, very slow. They bunched up together and then they didn't really go anywhere else.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sort of the exact effect, Constantina, just everyone bunching up. As soon as someone in front of you breaks, you then have to brake. Person behind you has to brake. So everyone closes up, and it really does make for some awkward shenanigans. Steve Hefford to the inside, trying to work his way past Van Gool. However, Van Gool is in 6th place, working their way through. There is Tom Griffiths. Wow, interesting one there. Again, that's the thing. All from highs to lows, and well, there we go, around again. It's just not people's days. You look at one thing, there's carnage. You look away, there's more carnage. Yeah, it's race 4, ladies and gents. Even more.
Teammates. Well, subsidiary teammates, should we say. They're in the background. That's Darrell Wright and Andy Littler. not quite sure they're going to be on each other's Christmas card list after this one, being that they're both now down the order, work guard by result and safeguard by result. So I hope David Ayres has got a big old wallet this evening, because he looks like he might have to be paying out some damage. But at least Main is battling away here on as well. Tom Griffiths on the left, John Sylvester behind her in the Platinum Racing Team car. Sampson is under pressure from Ayres. This is going to be a tall order, isn't it, to hold this one back?
It is indeed. Jamie Ayres, he's fueled and determined to make the most of maybe getting himself back into a race-winning position. Race 2 and 3, well, race 3 was looking to go his way. Unfortunately, didn't right at the death of it, so he's looking to get himself back to the top spot. However, Martin Sampson, he's been given an opportunity to potentially win a race, because they're about 4.8 seconds clear of Steve Hefford. A comfortable margin for sure, so maybe he's got a bit of room to play with in terms of defending around Brands Indy. If you can park it in the right places, if you can be quick in the right places, off the exits of corners, through the pit straight, as long as you park your car well, it's fairly easy to defend. But Jamie Ayres, after tonight, he is one of the drivers I would not want to be in my rearview mirror right now. No.
I've got to be honest, I wouldn't want Jamie Ayres behind me either, especially in an MX5. It's something that he can just do so well, and he does it with ease. It almost looks like he's just got that car hooked up like we saw in the last race. Completely unlucky if that was a complete disconnect from iRacing on the final lap of the race. I think he had barely 2 corners left of the final lap, and Jamie Ayres did disconnect through. But here we go again with Jamie Ayres. He's going to go up the inside. Sampson's left that door open, son, and unfortunately for you, it's that time of the evening where somebody got burgled, and it was Martin Sampson, and Jamie Ayres took it away. So thank you very much, I'll have that. Nice job done. Griffiths is looking like he's battling away with Carl Jacklett, or trying to. He's lost a position to John Sylvester, mind you, from the PLT, and then Ralph Cullinan is further back as well, with Charles Kellerman in front of him currently at this moment in time. So what can Ralph do? Ralph's had a dreadful evening. Cullinan's got no bumper whatsoever. He's got maximum airflow through the front end of that MX5 there, but Cullinan's not had the greatest night, has he?
Has anyone, really? I mean, Steve Hefford, PVG have not really had bad nights, but yeah, definitely that MX5 is, well, it's going to have no problem regulating its temperature. That radiator at the front is going to be saying, you know what, actually this is a nice breeze, but yeah, not really being the optimal way to go about things at all. From Charles Kellerman just in front into back into this fight for what is now P8 and P9. Carl Jacklett versus John Sylvester versus Tom Griffiths. They're all very, very close as well, working into Paddock Hill Bends. And yeah, I don't know, it's just it's been one of those days, James, where I think people haven't quite been on it, and maybe the track and car combination has invited this as well, because yes, Austria and yes, Raskogan were chaotic. It wasn't quite to this standard where it was quite, you know, universal across the entire field. Today, everyone's had a bad day.
Yeah, it was Steve. We've got Steve Hefford in the waiting room here. Steve is driving around currently in 3rd place. He's got a bit of a gap to the guys in front, 5 seconds behind. Good evening, Steve. How are you, sir?
Yeah, good evening. I was a bit bored, so I thought I'd come for a chat.
Oh yeah, you seem like you're completely on your own. It was a little bit of a chaotic start there, because it looks like the front got away quite slowly.
Yeah, I had an incident with Mick on my right, and I think it was Jason Harrington on my left. And I had contact with, I'm not sure one or both, to be fair, but yeah, it was a bit sketchy at the beginning, so I need to watch that back. But yeah, it sort of split the field up, didn't it, as well? There was a couple of incidents.
Yeah, everybody's kind of spread out currently at the moment, of course. Race 3 with you and Miles Owens. Contact into Druids. I did see you slowed right down and let him back through.
Yeah, I went for a chat. We're all good. You know, as long as the racing's that good, it doesn't really matter where you finish, to be fair.
No, it was definitely a great evening of racing so far, and obviously poor old Jamie Ayres in that last one. Was it a disconnect, Steve? Do you know for sure?
Yes, it was, yeah.
He's got to be gutted, isn't he? Absolutely gutted. Last lap, 2 corners from home, and he goes and disconnects there as well.
Yeah.
Oh, unbelievable. But for you, mate, I suppose podium position currently where you are, you're just going to try and keep it on track for the next 6 minutes, driving around all on your own there. It's like going for a Sunday drive, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
You can always back into PVG and John Sylvester if you want to scrap for the last 6 minutes, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Well, there we go, Steve. Thank you so much
See you later.
for joining us, bud. I'll drop you back in the Momo room, all right?
Cheers, man.
All right, man. Take care. Well, there we go. That was Steve Hefford there, just chilling around on his own, as he said, a bit lonely. Thought we'd come down for a chat. Jamie has gone off. That's going to allow Martin Sampson, is it, to retake that position? It is, with 5 minutes remaining. Not great. Move there. Sir Hallen Toon has had a crash. Steve Hansford had a crash. Andy Jacobson is in chat. Hate this car more than hate. No, hate this car more than hate now. I'm not quite sure what the next level is after
It's
that.
a step above.
What's the step above hate?
Disdain.
Appease? I don't really know.
You. I don't know. Yeah, it's you detest it. I don't know. Anyway, Anthony Jacobson. This is why he doesn't like it. Yeah, in a bit. Oh, onto the grass. Yeah. Well, was that the car? Was it the drive? I mean, bad tradesmen has always blamed some tools. I'm just saying.
Steady.
I'm just saying.
Steady where you're going. With a man that's angry and Zach's just fueling the fire.
You know, I'm a youngster. I live for it. I live for the drama.
Yeah, but you won't be living for your 70th birthday if you get older, you mate. Careful what we say. Andy Jacobson, no, Craig Jones did say you can swap series with him. He said he will transfer over. So if you want to go do WSR and the GR86, he'll come along and do the MX5 for you in the in this one. But it does mean you'll have to sign into each other's accounts, I suppose. I don't know if anybody will really know, but there we go. Possibly now that I've mentioned it, they might do. But that's the, that's on the table. Craig Jones did say it's the deals. We see Jamie Ayres nearly just about to try. Oh, Sampson's off. Sampson's up on the gravel. Jamie Ayres forcefully made his way through, and Sampson there unfortunately ran off the side of the circuit. So unfortunately for him, he is now off the side. Still in the lead though, mind you, is Jamie Ayres, with Martin Sampson still tucked up behind him. Cullinan down in 9th place. It looks like it's battling away with Elise Main. Further back from that, we've got Kellerman trying to catch up with Barry in that very well air-vented MX5. And at the moment, he still looks like he's doing a stellar job. I don't even know if he realises parts of that car are missing, to be honest. You would think so. But the optical red of Elise Main here with Charles Kellerman from Results, not Charles Kellerman, Ralph Cullinan from the Results Clothing. Ralph's going to try a different line out. Main's gone in deep. Cullinan's going to run up the inside. They're going to be side by side, almost going into turn 1. And Cullinan has got through. So Ralph Cullinan through. Jamie is still under pressure from Martin Sampson here.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, Sampson has been doing a really, really good job in this race so far. I mean, yes, Jamie Ayres has been on pace, but Martin Sampson has been breathing down his neck and saying, "No, as soon as you make a mistake, mate, I am on your case. You cannot breathe." And that's exactly as an attacking car. It's exactly what you need to do. Maybe Sampson doesn't quite have the pace over the course of a qualifying session or over the course of a race to keep up with Jamie Ayres. However, the pressure that he's putting on is making Jamie Ayres not perform to his absolute best pace, and as soon as there's a mistake, boom, Sampson is there on the inside and eyeing up an opportunity. Look at this, it's fantastic stuff. Maybe Jamie has been a bit more cautious because, well, he's been in this position before. He doesn't want to lose yet another race victory, whereas Martin Sampson, it's a case of, you know what, I've been given this opportunity. For me, it's a win or nothing.
I think that's the thing. Once you take a reverse pole, you just got to kind of go for it. Ayres is looking slidey, mind you, later on into the race. 2 minutes on the clock remaining. Now, we've been in this position and we said 2 laps. We think it might be 3 here as well on a 51-second lap. Kellerman and Barry have... No, they haven't actually. They're back as they were. So it is all on Jamie Ayres, Martin Sampson. That is Miles Owens in front. The leaders are coming through this time as well. Here we go. Ayres on the left, Sampson on the right. Tuck in, Martin. Tuck in. You're not going to get him on that exit. Tuck in and try and get the run up Druids. Into Druids we go. Oh, he didn't quite get it, did he? He didn't quite get the run he needed.
No, I didn't, but they've got some traffic up in front. It could spice it up just a little bit. A couple of cars just ahead could maybe spice it up. Is that Andy Little versus Miles Owens in the fight for 14th? Potentially so. But yeah, Sampson, he's got to try something if he wants to win this race. Only a handful of minutes left to go. In through 30, closing the gap under braking. This is where Martin Sampson really needs to get his backside into gear and really start to put some pressure on Jamie Ayres, who has been on fire for the entire evening. Of course, his internet and other factors have had other things to say about that, but, well, he's been the man on form. The pace between them is virtually matched. However, 2 fighting cars in front of them could add a spanner into the works and could maybe see Ayres on the back foot. He's going to try and negotiate his way through, and straight up the inside, you can see that Sampson, that is the move through traffic of a desperate man. He is not letting Ayres get any advantage in this race. They both clear it quite equally, so the gap stays as it was beforehand. Couple of car lengths stretched, though, Jamie Ayres on that last lap. So the gap is growing. It's going to take a bit of a mistake, I think, from Ayres to see Sampson take victory.
Yeah, the problem for Sampson there, just looking at where they were braking, Sampson's about 10 minutes later, 10 meters later than Ayres, which is allowing Ayres to run out as we go on to the final lap of the race. So he's able to get that run out of Clark currently at the moment, partly because he's just where the braking points are. Sampson seems way off, and I'm not quite sure if he hasn't picked up on the fact that Jamie Ayres is braking 10 meters earlier, and he's doing the same in pretty much most corners. It looks like Sampson's trying to overdrive that MX5, because if you watch where the brake lights come on, Sampson's quite sort of far ahead of where he should be, especially on this run up here, and he kind of really needs to be right up following him currently at this moment in time. He needs to be on the same points now. He's got to try and get on. He's just not going to get it on, and it is going to be Jamie Ayres who's going to come across the line and take the race for victory for the pros. Ayres manages to finish the race there as well. Well done to him. Sampson comes across the line in third. I think second. Hefford is going to come across the line in third there. He does do that. So well done for him. And absolutely stellar job as the others now come over the line as well. So there is fourth place man. I want to pick up on Mick Barry, who's going to win the first AMS victory here this evening as well. So Barry does take the victory in the AMS. There he comes, and Darrell Wright behind him. And then behind that is Steve Hansford. Steve Hansford made up for what can only be perceived as quite a rotten evening of luck there, as Hansford comes over the line. We're just waiting for the final runners here this evening to finish off. And I believe that is actually everybody done. So let's bring you up the final results of this evening's racing. Oh, Jamie is trying to put it in the garage in a different way. Didn't quite make it through. Jamie Ayres is in first place. Martin Sampson second. Steve Hefford third. Pete Van Gaal in fourth. Tom Griffiths the fifth. John Sylvester sixth. Carl Jacklett seventh. Ralph Cullen eighth. Elise Main ninth. Charles Kellerman 10th. Mick Barry 11th. Darrell Wright 12th. Steve Hansford 13th. Miles Owens 14th. Andy Littler 15th. Sir Alan Toon 16th. Arnold Chandelier 17th. Daniel Hunt down in 18th place. Darren McLean 19th. Jason Haddington 20th, and Anthony Jacobson is down in 21st place there and last on the results table. How would you sum that kind of evening up of racing, Zach? Because it was just non-stop, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. I mean, apart from the break between race 2 and 3, the action didn't halt at all from start to finish. Chaos, drama, excitement, you name it, it had it. And obviously we saw some very deserved winners. Jamie Ayres, taking 2 victories over the course of the evening, really had a fantastic showing tonight. Big championship implications as well, with Daniel Hunt really, not finishing most of the races tonight, or at least, running towards the back end of it through no fault of his own in some cases. So, yeah, big shake-ups in terms of the championship. But to sum it up, yeah, it was just... Well, there's not even a word.
No.
What is the word? Because nothing really does it justice. It's ineffable. It's undescribable. There's no word that can describe what we saw today for round number 3 of the UK SimRacers MX5 Championship. I don't know. What was the cause of it? Was it the car? Was it the drivers? Was it the track? I don't know. But either way, yeah, I enjoyed every minute.
Right, let's bring in Carl Jacklet into the booth here. Carl's had a very up and down evening. Carl, how are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm very good. I've really enjoyed tonight, even though I did mess up a little bit. But hey, I've had lots of 7s and 6s. So
Yeah,
can't
and
complain.
race 2 and race 4, bit up and down.
Yeah, they were good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I've had a couple of incidents, but I've really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it, and that's the important thing.
Well, that's all that matters, isn't it, really? As long as you're having fun while battling so closely with everybody here as well. You know, going forward, Carl, what do we expect from you this season? What's your aspirations? Is it championship? Is it just to have a good time? What do we think?
It's to have a good time and try and finish more races, rather than finishing races in a barrier, finishing them under the checkered flag.
Well, that will that will definitely help if you could finish in that way. You know what I mean? I think at the end of the day, it's a given that you do have to finish races. We go on to Belle Isle next week. Any thoughts?
Yeah, that's a fun one. I've had some good races there actually in the past, so yeah, looking forward to that.
Awesome stuff, Carl.
Got to relearn the circuit, but.
I'm sure you'll be all right, mate. I'm sure you'll do an absolute stellar job as you always do there as well. But Carl, thank you so much for joining me. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go this evening?
Yeah, I'm going to give a shout out to the Momo boys for being so consistently bloody quick.
Aye, that works out for me as well. So, Carl, thank you so much for joining me, and we look forward to seeing you next week, bud.
Yeah, I also got to give a quick shout out to some of the guys in Platinum Racing. I've had some amazing battles with them tonight.
Yeah,
and it's been a blast. Really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely as well. It's been an incredible evening of racing. So well done to you, Carl, and look forward to speaking to you maybe next week.
Yeah, perhaps.
Take care, mate.
Good night.
Right, so that was Carl Jacklet there as well. Sum it up. As long as you have a good time, it don't really matter where you finish.
Exactly. The bottom line is having fun. I mean, oftentimes forgotten when it comes to sim racing, you know, how competitive it is when you get to the higher up stages. It's, you know, for prize money and for championships and things like that. Bottom line is, it's pretend race cars. You know, we're out there having fun. We're passionate about it. We're having fun. And if you're not having fun, then why are you doing it?
Exactly. So there we go, guys. That brings us to the end of tonight's broadcast. Another amazing evening here as well. Thank you to everybody who's jumped in. Phil across the pond, never-ending Winkleface. I do love that name. It is absolutely amazing. Chris Needham, thank you for joining us as well. Jordan Serrett was been in here earlier on. SRL TV Puck, as always. Marnik Heister, thank you for coming along as well. And David Ayres, of course, joining us this evening. So much love to you guys. Right, thank you very much. And if you want to hang around later on till about 12:45 in the morning, you can watch some NASCARs racing around later, courtesy of the BSC. So you can get yourselves and come along and watch that. We are at Bristol Motor Speedway this evening with myself and Kenton Sportak in the booth. But that is it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, take care. Have a great week, and you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.